Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. In today's video I'm going to show you how I foiled this tag. This is part of an assignment that I've done for Scrappy Shack, and I'd love it if you would visit Scrappy Shack. They carry all kinds of Tim Holtz products along with other products, and great pricing, fast shipping. Let's get into it. Alright, so here we go. So I wanted to show you how I foiled this tag. Today we're going to do one in silver. This is one that I had done in gold, and I used the Spellbinders gold foil. I used some gold holographic cardstock and some watercolor cardstock. I used the well, here's a couple of other tags that I've done because I wanted to show you that foiling these tags is hit and miss. So this one is kind of grungy, but I like the look. This one I had done with gold foil and it worked out really well. It foiled nicely over the mica stains and watercolor paper. And then I did one on plain paper and nope, it did not foil well at all. So again, it's hit or miss. You have to play around. I definitely say don't try to do the large tag, and I'll show you why. It's just a little bit big for the glimmer platform because I don't like to put these kinds of things in straight on. And so it kind of hangs over a little on the edge. So I don't recommend that one. We're going to be using the medium-sized one in today's video. So this one here, which is perfect for a little tag that's going to fit my little stump guy. So I'm going to be using the Sizzix Thinlits. This is Twig and Stump, and I'll have it linked down below. And I have an oldie but goodie sidekick from Tim Holtz, and I'm going to be using the Noel word. I'm going to be using Simon Says Stamps microdot sheets. They're great for sticking, you know, because I did these in layers so that they would kind of stand out from the back. I've got here a piece of cardstock. Sorry about my hands. I've been messing around. This is from Crafty Critta. And I also have this hot foil from Crafty Critta in Silver Galaxy. I only bought the silver and the pearl because I wanted to test out their foils. So, yeah. So, but I'm going to start out by staining my piece of plain paper with these mica stains. I've got Hocus Pocus, I've got Fortune Teller, I've got a little bit of Cocktail Party. Forgot which other ones I just pointed out. Oh well, we'll see. We'll see here in a minute. So I'm going to get my makeshift splat box, and you can see it's well loved. I've got a little goober there, of course. Well, where I've got that little fingerprint won't matter. So I'm wetting the paper down first, and then I'm going to go ahead and start adding the, this one is Shiny Bauble. And I'm just shaking it up, making sure that the mica is all mixed up. And I'm just going to spray it down. Pretty simple. And this one is the Winter Frost, I think. Winter something. I'll link it down below. I'm moving too fast for me to be able to tell. And I'm just going to spray some of that on. Then I'm going to go in with a little bit of the Cocktail Party. Or is it Cocktail Dress? Oh, whatever. Again, I'll link it down below. And just throw some of that in. Gosh, these things are so gorgeous. And here I've got Fortune Teller. This one is my personal favorite. Well, not really. They're all my favorite. I love them, every single one of them. And then finally, I've got the Hocus Pocus. And this is from the Halloween release last year. And I'm just going to put that at the very bottom. And then I'm going to go back in with the Shiny Bauble and just get a couple of more spots. It's such a lovely color. Now with this paper, it doesn't hold the intensity of color. So you'll see that I am going to do a second one on the Ranger watercolor just to kind of give you a comparison of how this stuff lays down on the paper. So what I'm doing here is I'm just lifting the paper up so no edge sits there soaking in water best as I can, or liquid or water. And this will flatten out some as it dries. And I'm just taking my heat tool and drying it. This paper stands up really well to heat, of course, because it's, you know, formulated for hot foil. So you would want it to be able to stand up to heat. But it also stands up to water. So it's got most likely some sort of a coating on it that helps it grab the foil. But it's also grabbing these mica stains just fine. They don't slide off or anything once they're dry. And I'm just going to pull this out of my box now that it's dry enough that I'm not going to get this stuff everywhere. Because, you know, that's what I do. And I'll go ahead and finish drying this. And I do want to make sure it's thoroughly 100% dry before I start foiling it. So I just kind of go back and forth slowly with my heat tool, and you notice it's not warping or anything. It is starting to try to lay down. I can't even get over how gorgeous those colors are, and they look different depending on the substrate that you put them on. And I'm not worried about the sides because I'm not going to be using the sides. If I was, I would have just thrown a little water on there. I'm just going to flip this over and make sure that these edges are dry, because I will be foiling the entire piece. So I'm doing double foiling today. So I'm going to foil once, and then I'm going to foil again with a different pattern. And it works out just fine, just so you know. I've never had a problem with double foiling at all. So now that I've got that mostly dry, I still definitely want to clean up. And I'm just using a little bit of isopropyl alcohol to clean up here. And to clean off my hands. I mean, I realize they're stained, but I don't want anything that moves and gets on my stuff. I'm just kind of straightening out this paper. But what I like to do to ensure that my stuff is dry, and I do this too when I do ink blending with oxides, is I like to run it through my Mica and between two sheets of paper just to ensure dryness. Helps, you know, on the Mica too if you actually plug it in. And this is just my mini Mica from Heidi Swapp. So I think I'll plug it in and turn it on. There we go. And I just turned it on to a number 4 here, waiting for it to heat up. And I do multiples at once because I do a lot of backgrounds. And this is just a sheet of copy paper, and I'm just flipping it over. 2 reasons. I don't want to get a bunch of mica on my rollers. And yeah. So that is dry, and then here's the second piece I did, and I did this on some distressed watercolor paper, and you'll see the color intensity is much stronger. Still the same colors. So now we're going to get out our hot foil and start foiling this thing. And I've got my little tag, but I'm going to start by foiling the background. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my Glimmer machine. This Glimmer is a machine by Spellbinders. I just got it last year, and then it got hot, and I didn't foil because it's too hot. I'm going to go ahead and plug it in and let it get heated up. It just takes it a second for it to power on. And then I'm going to move that aside, and I'm going to go ahead and pre-cut my foil. I'm going to find my foil plate that I want to use. Here's my platform topper thingy. I have them taped together from Nancy Stamp's tip so that, you know, I don't have to mess with 2 of them. And here I've just got a little cutting mat that I got at the dollar store. I have multiple cutting mats because I used to make quilts, but a nice small one is handy in this case. And this is a plate from Dare to Be Artsy, and it's the plate I'm going to be using. I absolutely adore this plate. And I'm going to set it on my platform, and I'm just going to offset it just a tiny bit, and I'm just going to let my platform heat up. It takes probably, I don't know, I never actually timed it, but it takes a few minutes for it to get ready to be hot enough to start foiling. So I'm just going to lay my watercolor paper because it's heavier, and I'm just going to cut through with this little rotary cutter that I've had for 100 years. The rotary cutters, if you sew or quilt, they're great for cutting curves. The small rotary cutter, I probably have 6 rotary cutters because, again, I used to make quilts, and so you do a lot of rotary cutting with cutting strips and things like that. And this one wants to fight me, naturally. Like I said, this is really old. It could probably use a new blade, but I don't use it often enough to remember it needs a new blade. I'm just going to set those aside. And I'll tell you one thing, because I'm working on these silicone sheets. So one of them is a silicone mat that I purchased. And the other one is the Tim Holtz mat. And the foil likes to stick to it, like weirdly. So I'm going to go ahead and grab one of these pieces of foil. And I'm going to lay it pretty side down. Although I think the gold side is pretty too, but you know what I mean. And I'm going to go ahead and lay my paper on while I'm waiting for this to heat up, and just let it heat up. Okay, so I've got the timer going now. As you can see, the little flashing light just barely. And as soon as that timer stops flashing, I'm going to run this through my Big Shot. You can use a Big Shot. You can use this Platinum 6. You can use the Switch. You just can't use like a Gemini machine because they don't have a big enough opening. So any machine that you use that has a heavy platform, you know, at least, I don't know, my brain thinks it's an inch. Who knows how much it really is because, yeah, math, not me. So I'm going to gently pull this out, and I like to hold my fingers on the top of it when I do that. And I am going to slowly run it through my Big Shot. Pretty slowly. And I can't remember now. I'll tell you when we're done. I think I did the watercolor paper first. So if you want to know more about foiling, please visit my friend Nancy over at Nancy Stamps. She probably has a million foiling videos. I'm no pro or expert at foiling. I'm pretty new to it. But anything you ever wanted to know about any kind of foiling, you will find on Nancy Stamp's channel. And I will link her down below. All right, let's see. Here comes the moment of truth. I'm just letting this cool for a second. And I'll go ahead and get my next piece started. And I think I'm doing the Crafty Critta paper next. Here it is. Yep, that's the Crafty Critta one. I'm just going to lay that on there. I'm going to lay my little spacer and pad on there and start the timer. Well, come on, wakey, wakey. You have to make sure you get it all the way plugged in. So we'll go ahead and reveal. And this piece of watercolor paper foiled beautifully. Look at that. Oh, and that foil, it's a holographic, and it's got holographic stars in it. So yeah, and I'm going to save that piece because you can obviously foil if you have a flat plate, which I do. You can foil the leftovers so that you don't have any waste on your foil at all. So we'll just wait for that timer here on the Crafty Critta paper. Now, Crafty Critta is based out of Australia. I hear a lot of people complain about the shipping cost. Well, honestly, the product is amazing and the customer service is phenomenal. When I ordered this, I had it a week later, and the owner, Scott Dunn, they sent me a personalized greeting card and some samples of their paper, because all I ordered was the foil, and I think I ordered some of the colored toner sheets. But they were super generous with me, and again, it's super fast shipping, and y'all, it's coming out of Australia, so there's that. I've done this. The other one I did with Spellbinders foil. It worked just fine, and I did it on watercolor. So don't think that you have to go out and purchase what I have. I just wanted to, you know, go ahead and demo this because they were so kind to me to send me the extras, the paper and stuff. So I thought that I would go ahead and use it on camera. And you'll see Nancy use it a lot too. All right, so we've got that one run through. I'm going to go ahead and plug my platform back in. And I'm going to take this off because we're done with this one. Let's see here. Not the easiest thing to grab, and I'm just going to lay it on my silicone mat. I have the Spellbinders one, but I can't be asked to get it out. I'm the laziest crafter you'll ever meet. Now this one, the paper is thinner. I want to say it might be 100-pound paper. I don't know how to tell really, to be honest with you, but it also foiled beautifully. So here are our 2 foiled pieces. So I'm going to go ahead now and I'm sorry I'm partially off camera. It's very hard to get everything in camera when you've got all this machinery, but I'll try and get in camera. So I'm going to make a little hinge here. First I'm going to decide where I want this to go, you know, based on the colors in the background. And I'm going to use my Spellbinders tape, and I'm going to create a hinge right at the top. And I like to tape these down just to make sure they don't move at all. So I've got my little hinge there, so I'm just going to open this up, and I've already got my foil cut because, you know, I was off camera waiting for other things to happen. And this time, because I'm doing it this way, the foil goes pretty side up. Okay, so we've got that. Now I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to trim off this excess because I don't need it, and I want to be able to tape the bottom down too. So we'll go ahead and grab some tape and tape down the bottom, just to make sure nothing moves. And then I'm going to flip the whole shebang over and lay it in my glimmer machine and set my timer. And I want to say, I think we started out with the watercolor paper. I can't remember. Lord, I need some help with my memory. Well, people say, take ginkgo or do this or do that. I can't be asked. You guys know. I just get somebody to help me remember. Last night I couldn't remember how to say those little thingies that you put in tags. Grommets. I couldn't think of the word. It was just completely gone, and it was so funny because I was in a live and everybody else in the group, I don't think half of us remembered the name of what that thing was. So then I went on to scrapbook.com and started looking for grommets, but they didn't have the colors I wanted. But I think they're neat, so whatever. I mean, I have a crocodile. I have 2 different crocodiles, and so, you know, grommet would be handy. And here what you see me doing is I'm cutting a shim. So I like to have a shim when I am foiling these tags, see, just for a little bit of extra pressure. So I'm going to run this through, and I'm just running the shim right on top. It doesn't matter, and do not worry, these will not cut into your plate. There's not enough pressure for that. There's just enough pressure to basically glue the foil down. I have seen people foil regular dies. I'm not real super crazy about the result. To me, it's weird. But these have already that deboss portion that Tim designed that you could ink. And they look really cool ink too, but I thought, well, let me see if we can foil that. And sure enough, you can. Again, with mixed results, as you saw in the beginning. Yeah, this is our watercolor paper, so let's reveal and see what we got. And I'm just pulling the tape off the bottom. Sorry, it's off camera. Again, there's just not enough room to have everything here. And I'm going to go ahead and reveal. Let me pull that foil off. And initially I left that taped on thinking I was going to cut it out, but I decided I'm not going to cut it right this minute. So it did foil, but it didn't foil perfectly. And so I'm going to take my little mono sand eraser and kind of try and get rid of some of that overfoiling. It's very hard to see the overfoiling on this mica. And here I've got just, it's a kind of a stiff bristled stencil brush that I like to use to kind of brush away the excess foil. And hopefully I'm going to show this to you closer. But it really, it didn't foil perfectly. It foiled. It definitely foiled, but not perfectly. So again, it's going to be hit and miss depending on the foil, depending on the paper, depending on your shim, depending on the pressure. The very outside foiling I'm not worried about because that will be cut away. So when you go to cut it, it fits perfectly. You just fit the die perfectly into that spot. So let's go ahead and do the Crafty Critta paper now. So this paper was made for foiling. Watercolor was not made for foiling. You can foil it, but if you use a paper that's made for foiling, you most likely are going to end up with better results. So I'm going to go ahead and lay this pretty side up, and I'm going to trim the same like I did before and tape the other side down. Looking for my scissors here. You know how you do. You set them somewhere. Where'd they go? They were right here 2 seconds ago. Yeah, they weren't. They were somewhere else. So I'm just trimming off that excess, and I'm not even gonna tape down the bottom. I don't think I need to. So I'm gonna lay that down again, kind of slightly at an angle. And this time I'm gonna put my shim, and this is a 100-pound cardstock that I'm using for a shim. And then I'm gonna put down my plates and set my timer. So it's sort of funny, you know, when I get a crazy idea, I'm like, well, okay, you know what, I'm willing to try it. It's just paper. So here's me taking this mono sand eraser and trying to erase away some of that overfoiling, but there's other spots that are underfoiled. So you have both. The background foiled perfectly, but foiling over top with that die, you see, it's not perfect by any means. It's still pretty. I mean, yeah, it's gorgeous. So that doesn't necessarily concern me, but you know, if you're looking for perfect foiling, you're going to have to experiment with what you have. Again, I'm not an expert. I never claim to be. I just play one on TV. No. Now this one's getting ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and pull it out of the platform and put it into my Sizzix, and I'm going to run it slow, like really, really sloth-like slow. What is with these gnats? So we are having here, we had a fake fall, and we're back to summer now. We had some heavy thunderstorms last night. They were awesome, but not awesome for our dogs and one of our cats. Mike said that Baby Man, or one of our cats, clung to him, like held onto his arm while all the booming was going on, and it was enough to keep me awake. Usually that stuff won't help me sleep, but man, that was loud. It was scary. But it was fun. I still love myself a thunderstorm. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this apart, and then we're gonna go to the reveal here. And here we go. It looks better. I'm gonna go ahead and leave that taped on, I think, because I'm gonna cut it out next. So I'm just kind of letting it cool here for a second, just to make sure that the foil adheres. And now I'm going to slowly pull this up, and voila. She foiled beautifully. Look at that. Ooh, that foil, I'm telling you. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and lay this back and fix it sort of back into its little notch. And now got them both cut out because I went off camera and did that. So here's our sort of grungy one, and here's our perfectly foiled one. It just foiled wonderfully. And I think I'm going to go ahead and use this one for our tag today. And save the other one, maybe leave it plain, maybe put something on it. I don't know. I have so much saved stuff. So this one, I did gold. I decided I'm going to do this one silver, but I'm still going to use Stump because he's just so stinking cute. I'm telling you, I absolutely love this die set. So I will be doing a giveaway here through the comments below. I accidentally got 2 tag sets. I forgot that Melanie let me choose 2 sets. One was this Winter Wishes, and one was the tag set for my assignment. And then I didn't remember that I chose that. I thought I chose something different. I did in my mind anyway. And I ended up with 2 sets, so I'm going to give 1 set away. Because I don't need 2. I only need 1. There's no point in being greedy. And I'm not a big fan of sending things back, so I'm going to go this route and give you guys 1. And here I am. I've just got a little something stuck in his little eye there. It doesn't want to come out. There we go. I am just pulling out all the pieces I need. So there's his little scarf. We've got his body and his body under. We've got the snowflakes. We need his arms. There's another snowflake. Where is... This set comes with a ton. We need his little nose. Like, I don't need that many noses, but hey, you know, you never know. You could use those pieces for multiple things. Okay, there's this little hat set. What am I missing? I don't think I'm missing anything. So I'm going to go ahead and pick these back up and put them back in the little thing before I start losing them again, because I do lose things. And I like to pick them up with this magnet. It's kind of difficult to pick stuff up off of these silicone mats. They kind of, I don't know, my fingers just don't want to do it. I don't know if it's arthritis or I'm just losing my dexterity along with my memory. I don't know. Who knows? Anyway, I'm going to pick these up and put them all back. And I'm sure some of you can completely relate. It's just certain like fine motor skills seem to, it's not so much the skill, it's the stiffness or something. And there's a little hat I made because I made the wrong hat for the one I made yesterday. So the hat you want to use if he's facing either side is the one with the little thingy hanging down. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll be cutting these all out of watercolor paper. And I've gone ahead and cut them out. And for the snowflakes, I've cut out 4 of each. Well, 3 of each, and then 1 of this silver holographic cardstock. And this is also from Simon Says Stamps. There's the piece, just in case you were wondering. And I'm going to be layering those snowflakes and that word Noel. And the word Noel comes from that Sidekick set. Use what you have. And here I have, this is the black metallic cardstock from Tim Holtz. And you wonder, what would I use that for? Well, here's one thing you can use it for. Just an extra element of metal. And you can, by the way, cut these out in your Sidekick if you want to. I am going to be using my Vagabond too. Just because in order to use my Sidekick, I have to move all my silicone stuff, and I've just got too much stuff piled on top of there to do that. So I'll cut out the little black piece, just that part on camera. Well, you can't see me, but I'm over there cutting it out, and there it is. And see, now his little buttons in the back are black, but they are metallic. And you can't really see them unless you're close up to it. So what I want to do here is I'm going to first put together all of my little snowflakes. So I'm going to move all these things aside just to get them out of my way. And you see that little white piece right there in the center? That's the little ball for his hat, and I end up losing that. I don't know where. I must have not realized. And what I have here is I have this Simon Says Stamp micro dots, and they come in 8.5 by 11 sheets. I don't need that much. I'm cutting out about 2 inches, and I'll set the rest aside. And I'm not going to glue these all down on camera because that would be really boring, but I'll glue one just so I show you how I do it. So I'm peeling this apart, and it comes apart fairly easy. I've used multiple brands of these kind of micro dots, so I can't choose one over another. These ones were handy. I couldn't find my artist tack, and they work just fine. So there's no point in being picky about it. Just grab what's on hand. Just because I'm not real fond of trying to glue together these tiny little pieces. So what I'm doing is I'm just laying them down on the sticky dots and then closing the cover sheet and just kind of pushing down. And then I like to flip it over, and I like to take my bone folder and really burnish those little dots in. Okay, so pretty easy to do. And this stuff won't stay stuck. You have time to move it around until you push down, till you put pressure on it. So I'm going to grab the Noel first, and I just like to sometimes just bend that little piece so that I don't bend my, stretch out my tiny little paper. And I'm just going to line that up and stick it down. And I use my tweezers to kind of line up certain spots. Just kind of pinch it so it's lined up. And then once I have it all lined up, I'll put you know, pressure down on it so that it stays stuck. See how I'm pinching there? Just making sure they're lined up. So I'll do the rest of these off camera here. I did want to come on and show you one thing. So these little snowflakes, their little arms are different. So they're not identical on every side. I love these snowflakes. They remind me of, you know, they remind me of like Rudolph or Frosty the Snowman or something. So I want to show you what happens. And I'm going to be doing the holographic. I'm going to be offsetting it a little. But I want to make sure that my little arms match up. And then I'm going to be showing you the difference if you don't match them and if you do. Because one of them I thought they matched, but they didn't. And I'm just going to kind of move this around. And I want it slightly offset so that you know, I've got kind of a shadow layer, so they stand out against the all the silver holographic stars in the background. You can do it with white, black, craft, whatever, and you've seen me use black and offset it with holographics, so you can go either way. So I'm going to give that a little push there, and that's going to see how that'll make it kind of stand out against the other. So here's the difference here. There's one that I did, look at my hands, they're a mess. There's one that I did that didn't match up and one that did. And so you can see the difference. It's not a huge deal. I'm not mad. I'll live with it. So I'm going to move all these little pieces that I've layered aside, and I'm going to start coloring the parts of my snowman. My little stump, I love stump. I'm going to use the mica stains again, and I'm going to go ahead and I will be using here I have ink on my little dome foam blender, and I'm using just some, it's probably vintage photo, or it might be a combination of that and walnut stain, because I pretty much use them interchangeably. But since that's all I do with that particular ink set, my little blender almost always has ink on it. So I'm going to go ahead and press this down onto the black piece, and then I'm going to lay something on top of it so it'll just adhere, because sometimes it takes a little bit of time to adhere to foil. And I'm going to start out with Twig's arms, or not Twig's arms, but Stump's arms. And they're extra long so that you can shape them how you want. And here I've got my mica stains, and I'm looking for my crooked broomstick here, because it's the closest to brown. And by the way, it's my favorite of all the mica stains, and it's almost gone, and I have to wait till next year to get more. So I'll remember to buy doubles, because I do use these mica stains throughout the year. So I'm just going to spray a little bit onto my mat, and then I'm going to take my little precision water brush. There's no water in it. It's just a nylon brush, but I like it because it cleans off quickly. And I'm just going to paint the color down on these. The ones I did previously I sprayed, and they ended up way too wet, and I had to wait for them to dry, and I had a big mess, so I decided maybe painting them is better. So I'm going to move them aside there. I'm going to wipe off my brush. Let me grab a paper towel here. I'm going to wipe off my brush until I can't see any more color on it. And then I'll go ahead and wipe up this little mess so I can make a new mess. So I'm going to do the base here of the scarf and the base of the hat. So I want them to match. You don't have to match them. And I'm having a hard time deciding what color to do, but I'm going to settle on Shiny Bauble. For some reason, I'm thinking I love this red, but it really doesn't go with my color scheme. So I do kind of want to, I'm kind of weird that way. I need it to kind of go. So I'll grab the Shiny Bauble, shake it up, and I've lost the lid. It's around here somewhere. I just don't know where it is. But I do want to make sure that all that mica is mixed in. And you can see why my hands are such a mess, because I don't shake these properly. I don't clean them off. I don't do any of the things you're supposed to do, and I've still survived. So there's that. So I'll go ahead and paint these with the Shiny Bauble. Such a pretty little teal color. Super easy to do. And I'm just kind of wiping off the excess so that it dries quicker. And I'll pick these up with my tweezers and move them aside to finish drying. I love these little Sizzix really super pointy tweezers because they can get up underneath things really easier than a wide type of tweezer. So now I'm going to grab the embellishment for the hat and scarf, and I'm going to do those with Hocus Pocus. And where is it? So I accidentally put those away in the wrong place. So you're going to watch me going through these going, where is it? Why isn't it here? What have I done with it? So they're over there with my regular spray stains. And I am a spray stain gal. I absolutely love creating with the spray stains. It's just so fast and easy, and everything is always so random, and I really love that. So there she is. I knew it was there somewhere. I just want to make sure I'm getting all that mica mixed in, and then I'll spray some down onto my mat. And now you see why my mat is stained, but I mostly stained it with alcohol ink because I'm just sloppy. I forget, you know, that it stains. And I'm just painting these with the Hocus Pocus. Again, from last year's Halloween release. You can still pick up this year's Christmas and Halloween release at Scrappy Shack. Along with the dies you see me working with here, except for the Sidekick one. I believe that one's discontinued. You can check Sizzix. I bought it at Sizzix on clearance for like $3. So I have a feeling you may not find them anymore, but you might. I don't know. But I mean, there's other Tim Holtz words, and I mean, you don't have to use Tim Holtz. I just am, because these are the things that, you know, make me happy. So I'm grabbing the little carrot noses here, and I'm going to grab the jack-o'-lantern. And I seriously only need a teeny tiny drop of this, like a teeny tiny drop. But I still want to make sure I get as much mica in there as I can. So I'm shaking it up, making sure the mica's mixed in. The ball's making a sound. You can't hear it because I'm doing a voiceover, but it's there making the sound. And I'm just going to go ahead and paint that little part of the nose with that color. And I'm not necessarily worried about cleaning off my brush too much, because next I'm going to go in with the, I don't know the name of that color. I will put it in the description box below, because I'm shaking it and I can't see it. And my memory, yeah, we had that conversation. We'll go ahead and paint that one with the darker orange. What is it called? Brain? Well, never mind. Never mind. Okay, I'm going to put those all away, and then I'm going to clean up my mess, because the last thing I want to do is get colored ink on my white snowman, which I almost always inevitably do, which is why I don't work with a lot of white. Wow, Cindy Crawford just started following me. Man, I have Keanu Reeves, I have Cindy Crawford, all those celebrities. Well, I mean, if you really are who you say you are, thank you for following me, but I kind of have my doubts because I'm not anybody. I'm just going to grab some hand sanitizer and clean the surface of my hands. The stains won't get on stuff, but the anything wet on there will, and I do not want that to happen. So when I touch my snowman, I don't want him to run into trouble. So I'll go ahead and start putting this together now. I'm going to start with my scarf piece. And if it's still wet, just grab your paper towel and give it a dab. Like sometimes if the paint gets too thick on there, but this is watercolor paper, so it pretty much is going to absorb a lot of it. Or not paint, but stain, you know, wet, liquid, water, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. And I'm just using here, I think I'm using my reptile adhesive. And I like to tap it off there a little bit, off to the side, so that I don't have big globs. I'm just going to match those up. Make sure they're all matched up. And guess what, y'all? They don't have to be perfect. Nothing has to be perfect. So yeah, like Tim likes to say, get over yourself. So I'll go ahead and do the hat. And same thing. I mean, pretty much what we're doing now is repetitive, and I could have probably cut most of it out, but I'm trying to get out of doing a live tonight by doing a premiere. So my lives usually go for an hour. This thing goes for about 45 minutes. So make sure that you leave a comment in the comment box below if you want to win the extra set of tags. I am only shipping US for these, so, you know, let me know where you're from. And I'm sorry about that. I did do my last giveaway, which I'll be also announcing in my premiere tonight, the winner. And I did do that one international, but it's like 30 bucks to ship internationally, so, you know, I can only do one. Leave a comment, and then I'll pick next Thursday. You do have 48 hours to claim your prize once you find out you won. And see what I'm doing here? I just grabbed a little white piece from, I don't know, out of the middle of his belly, because I couldn't find that other piece, and glued it down on there, and it doesn't matter. So once I have the hat down, I like to then glue an extra piece on the back. And you can, I mean, you can wait and do the arms too, and then glue that down. But I didn't, so there's that. So I'm just going to glue this to the back, and part of what that helps is it helps the hat kind of stabilize. So cute. I can't even get over this guy. As soon as you put his nose on, man, that's it. It's it's crazy. I'm going to go ahead and glue down his scarf. And I just put glue at the neck part and a little bit, you know, across the side. It can hang loose. We don't mind. Oh my gosh, look at how cute he is. Oh my goodness. Okay, now I'll go ahead and glue the nose pieces together. And these are tiny, difficult for my big old hands, but these little tweezers really help a lot. And these aren't the reverse kind. These are the kind that you have to pinch and hold. And those work better for me. I don't know. That's just me. I'm going to go ahead and glue his little carrot nose down. And I want him looking up at the snow coming down and the stars. So I'm putting the nose up kind of high. And give that a little press. Look at that. Oh my gosh. And I'm not sure yet how I'm going to put his little arms. We'll have to lay him on the tag first to find out. But you can have them reaching up. You can move them around. Have them any way you want them. That's what I love about this set. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of clean up here. And then I'll grab my tag. And we'll start assembling. So I'm going to have him right about there. And I'm going to have my Noel here up at the top. And let me see how I want his arms. I like them reaching up. I don't know. Like trying to grab the snowflakes. That would be me. I can remember when I lived in Oregon and it would snow. And you'd get these big old fat chunks of snow. And if you stand there like under a light post, and the snow's coming down, it feels like you're in Star Wars. It's so cool. These big old chunks of cotton balls coming down. So I'm just gluing him right on top of his arms. And then just kind of moving him where I want him. I do want him to hang off a little bit. And I'm just going to put a little bit of pressure because he's not completely even because of the hat. Then I'll go ahead and glue down my Noel. Again, I'm going to tap that off. Try not to drop it. Drop it anyway. And glue that down. Up at the top. And then I have better idea on placement of my snowflakes. Now I want one of the snowflakes on him. And I think I want to do the one I messed up on him. Because it won't show as much since they're both the same color. Hey, you know, you do what you have to do. But I like a snowflake right on him. I just think it looks pretty, especially if you're using like a holographic paper. So I think I'll have this one here. I'm going to have one there. maybe. This is like trying to decide where to put sequins. Yeah, I think I'll have it something like that. So I'll go ahead and glue those down. So, you know, cut out a lot of parts where I was cutting them out and stuff like this. But, you know, if you do assembly line and cut all of your pieces and, you know, put them like, I don't have a muffin tin, I just put them in bags, then you can put them together when you're ready. You can do the same with all of your tags. I'll go ahead and glue this one down. Now all I have left to do is just put a little piece of ribbon in there. Isn't that pretty? Oh, I love it with the silver. I love it with the gold. You know, just two different color schemes. So I'm going to grab, I'm going to grab this sort of tealy blue color. And what I do is I bend these in half so I can get a little tail, and then just snip, you know, that way. And these I got from Joann. I probably got them on clearance for like 99 cents years ago. And yeah, I barely ever use them, as you can tell. You can use anything you want. There is a tag reinforcer that comes with this set, but I didn't use it because I didn't want to cover up my foil much. So there we go. I'm just going to tie it in a single knot, and that's our tag. Here it is up close. And then I'll go ahead and pull back in my golden one, which I used another Dare to Be Artsy foil plate for that one, and I used Spellbinder's foil for that one. I hope you like this video. If you do, please consider giving me a thumbs up. Don't forget to comment in the comment section below if you want to win the tag die set. So I thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and hit the like, subscribe. Love ya. Bye.